Premiership coach Simon Goodwin live at the desk a week after his brutal sacking by the Melbourne board.
Saving the season, Simmo and Horse take a deep dive into the Magpies as they head to Adelaide for the ultimate crunch game.
And the importance of season 10. We'll ask those in charge how the AFLW can restore its momentum.
Talked about is to step into it, embrace all of it.
Get in the room and fix it.
It's unedifying for a senior coach to do that.
They're on the side of caution with the brain. Take the man off.
They played the best footy I've ever seen at the start of the season. And if you'd said Brisbane lift the cup, I would have said, of course they do.
It's the stuff that legends are made of.
What is holding the ball? I don't think I could answer it clearly right now.
I could do something wrong, and I need to go, and the board sacks me.
The fans love it, and with no fans, no 360, right?
What you have to ask yourself, Gaz, is are you ready for the 18-game challenge? We are on the eve of AFLW. We are on the cusp of the penultimate round of the men's.
There's a lot of footy, Jared.
There's a lot of footy to take in, and you had the prized double.
I'm just concentrating on Friday night over in Perth and then back to Adelaide Saturday night. Which game's bigger, quickly? Fremantle take on Brisbane for their life, both of them.
Yep.
Adelaide take on Collingwood for their life.
I think it's Adelaide-Collingwood by a whisker.
That's your Victorian parochialism coming in there.
I'm going to stay and do detention with Ross.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
the fort for
well, they can warm you up, and then all eyes go to Perth for a biggie.
All right, here's what we have lined up for you tonight. Simon Goodwin is about to join us. Simmo and Horse have been deep at work in what has been and what's still to come. And then Emma Moore and Laura Kane will preview the AFLW season, the questions that sit over season 10 and the opportunity that lies within. And then first crack preview, Ben Dixon, David King and Lee Montagna to go deep on round 23. The Wednesday D-Day for Aussie broadband, and you don't have to be too creative here.
No, I'm turning my eyes to Fremantle, and this time 2 weeks earlier this time last year, they were sitting in third position on the AFL ladder with 4 weeks ago, Jared. Third on the ladder, the Fremantle Footy Club, staring down possibly one of the great seasons. They went third, they went sixth, 9th, 10th season over. A year later, they are fourth on the ladder with 2 weeks to go. They don't want to go out like that again, Jared. And they've got the reigning premier who are playing for their life arriving on their doorstep. Can't remember a bigger time for the Fremantle Footy Club. And right now. Yeah. And I know Brisbane, Chris Fagan will be going, oh, yeah, banging the desk. They know about us, but... the last two premiers haven't made the finals. There's precedent for that. Fags would hate it, but we could say, geez, it's getting hard to defend. There's no precedent for getting bundled out again. So Fremantle for me, and then you've already shown your hand. I know where
you're going to link up with Pav and Simmo. Nice.
Hutto's going to call it, and that is going to be one of the biggest nights in Western Australian footy.
It really is. Here are the two coaches for Friday night in Perth.
Their form on the road's been really strong this year. Their game's much like us, built on contest and stoppage, and it's going to be a good head-to-head battle, but one we're looking forward to.
It's an extraordinary year. I think there will never have been a year in AFL footy where 14 wins and a draw, which we've got at the moment, doesn't get you into the finals. That was what we had last year and finished fifth. So it's unusual, but that's just the way it is.
They've gone early.
Read the rundown.
Set themselves up.
Read the rundown. You're heading to Adelaide, I'm sure.
So Adelaide for me. So this game has largely been framed around Collingwood's. But think about Adelaide. This is the chance to stitch up the minor premiership. And to do it is to take down their bogey team. Yeah. They have lost 10 in a row against Collingwood, and the past 5 have all come with all sorts of incident and accident. 5 points, 1 point, 2 points, 4 points, 10 points. The gnashing of teeth every time. And then it's also to take this away from Collingwood. They've won 10 in a row at Adelaide Oval. That's outrageous that a visiting team on your home ground against a myriad of opponent has won 10 games there. So knock them over, reclaim your fortress, plant your flag as the minor premier, take the last bogey away and get on with winning the flag. That's what's at stake for Adelaide.
I did this game at the MCG and you walked away going, Adelaide are just off. They're not there. They're not at that level. And now here we are 10 or so weeks later and they're playing for all the chips on top of the ladder. Yes. Awesome.
So you'll be with Jace and Mark Rashudo and the full team. Jack Revolt's got a hand in there because Super Saturday will be going as well. Here's Matthew Nix today.
They keep getting bigger, but yeah, this is huge. This is a team that's, I know you'll go there, they've had the wood on us. And the reason for that, they're a very good side. Collingwood, they do it to a lot of sides. If it's a close game, they find a way. And that's why they've been sitting up the top and highly respected for so long. They've beaten us the last 10 times.
What a setup it is for the round ahead.
Massive.
All right, our agenda begins with Simon Goodwin. We have shared the journey of the senior coach right throughout the season, and as the circumstances of 2025 dictate, we will live it right to the end after his sacking last week.
Bert Chadwick, Frank Checker Hughes, Norm Smith and Simon Goodwin are the 4 men that have delivered a premiership to the oldest football club in this game. That puts him in rare air. He's a hero of this football club and will be forever today.
Many people never thought this day would come.
This is possibly the best 17 minutes in the club's history.
It's a brand new flag.
Clearly, the club are taking a different approach. As I said, I totally respect that decision. I've been fortunate to coach this club for 9 years, and I worked with some wonderful players, some wonderful people. It's been a great journey, something that I certainly don't take lightly. I love coaching these players. They've given their all for this football club, and that's something I'll cherish forever.
Simon Goodwin's time at Melbourne came to a close 8 days ago. Simon, thanks for being here on 360. Welcome.
Evening, Jared. Evening, Gaz. Good to be on.
What gamut of emotion have you gone through over the past week or so?
It was a real rollercoaster, clearly. Obviously, you go through the disappointment and the emotional, letdown, sharing the emotions with your family and friends. And then you go into, what's next. You go from a day where you're thinking about 100 different decisions and 100 different things you've got to do to waking up and nothing and, walking the dog 3 times a day. So life changes pretty quickly and you move forward pretty quickly. And, I've been blown away with the messages of support and love and thanks. And, I'm looking forward to the next opportunity.
Those in your profession say that this is part of it and your day will come. How confronting was it when your night came?
Yeah, look, it's clearly confronting. You go into this role and into this career knowing that at some stage it's not going to end on your terms. And as I said, I'm so fortunate 10 years in to coach a great footy club at Melbourne and the oldest footy club in the land, to have 10 years and your day's coming. But, like everything, it's confronting when it happens. It's emotional. You put so much into it. You invest so much into it. Your family does. And at the time, it's incredibly confronting.
I suspect most coaches get an inkling somewhere along the way. This one appeared to come out, well, for me anyway, on the outside. But what about you when you got a call from Brad Green on that night? Was it, something's afoot, but yeah. Give us a level of your understanding of what happened that day and how much of a shock it was to you.
Yeah, look, it was a shock. There's no doubt about that. I was disappointed that they'd come to that decision. But, you accept that decision. But clearly, you've invested so much and, you're always vulnerable as a senior coach. And obviously with outcome, we'd only won 7 games for the season. If you look in behind some of just the outcome of the 7 wins, there's things in our game that are heading in the right direction. And that's why I'm quite bullish about where the group's at and the opportunity that's presented in front of them, especially for the next coach. So it's confronting and it is a little bit vulnerable.
We'll get through a whole heap of stuff, but is that... It's sort of an indication, though, shouldn't you be a little aware, like if your communication with the people who make this decision is where it should be, that it shouldn't be such a big shock, or is that a naive approach from someone that doesn't know anything about it?
Oh, look, I think, as I said, the board have got their process and it would be really wrong for me to sit here and speak on behalf of the board and the process that they undertook. Would I love to have sat there and gone through what I thought was going to be the process moving forward and the strategy needed, really go after the job that I really wanted? Yeah, I would have loved to. Do I 100% think that I was the right person to carry this team forward? Yeah, I do, because I've done it before and build this next premiership team that I feel is well on its way to doing. But, that's the decision the board made and I accept that decision. They need a new voice and they want a new voice and they're going to get one.
So you would have liked the chance to fight for your job?
Yeah, absolutely I would have. I had a standard board meeting the week before and didn't have an inkling at that point. But as I said, I'm sure the board went through a thorough process. I can't speak on behalf of the board. All I can speak on is what I would have loved to have done, and I would have loved to have got that opportunity.
It's a tough decision to make for Brad Green, who's a football person, but can you give us an insight into his and their decision, the reasoning? Like, he sat next to you and said, we need a fresh voice. And I understand, probably out of respect, he can't be as forthcoming, but there must have been more than that.
No, that was the reason I got, was that they needed a fresh voice and they needed a new voice and a new, someone new to take them forward. And as I said, I accept that decision. I don't need to seek any more. I'm sure they went through a bit of a deeper process of what that looked like. But
Is that enough for you, a fresh voice? I mean, there must be greater nuance to it than that.
Yeah, look, obviously, as I said, that's, you're disappointed. I can't speak on behalf of the board. And I know people press me about, what was the board thing? I can't speak on behalf of them. I love my time coaching the Melbourne Footy Club. I love the players. I love the position that we're starting to build towards again. Am I disappointed that I'm not going to be a part of that? Absolutely I am.
Did you think being a premiership coach would have afforded you a little more loyalty with a contract still to run for next year?
Look, I think what being a premiership coach does is it gives great indication that you're capable of doing the job and capable of building them back to where you think they are. And as I said, we live in an outcome-based sport, so I understand that the 7 wins of the season isn't where we want it to be right now. But if you look deeper in behind, some of the things that we're transitioning towards success, there's a lot of good things that are in behind that, and that's the disappointing part.
So did you coach for the future? Did you coach on the journey figuring you had 2026?
Yeah, absolutely. No matter how long I've got on a contract, I'll always be coaching to build a premiership team. Because that's what it's about. It's not about just coaching for the now and getting to a final or winning 11 or 12 games. It's about building. And, we've got some wonderful young kids that were coming through that I wanted to play, that I knew that were really important to building this next premiership team. And I wouldn't change anything of that. I'd always coach that way. It's about the team. It's about the footy club. It's not about me.
You coached without the next president. There was a president in place. You coached without the next chief executive who had been appointed and wasn't there. Did it lead to a lack of alignment?
I think clearly. Clearly you need alignment for success. And I think if you look around the great sporting organisations around the world, in business, in sport, alignment's critical, and it's critical because it builds trust, and you can make some really great decisions that you need to moving forward. And I can only speak about my early days at Melbourne. Peter Jackson was wonderful in setting that environment up to build that stability, to have 6 years of making wonderful decisions for the footy club, which enabled to build the foundations for the success that was needed. So I think any coach, if you read any book of any successful coach, the biggest thing they talk about is stability and alignment.
Is it a fractured football club in as much as the things that Jared pointed to, the interim CEO, the president that's there but about to hand over, physically, you're at the MCG, you're at Amy Park, you're at Casey. Does that add up to a fractured football club?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think there's certainly been challenges that sit within that, and there's things that all football clubs need to work on, and Melbourne's no different. But if you walk through the doors at training at Casey Fields with those players, the environment's healthy, the environment's alive and well, they're committed as ever to getting better, and that's the biggest part of your program to get right, and they're in a really good space.
So what in your mind when Melbourne supporters say, we won that flag in 2021, they're beautifully placed, the list was where it's at. What in your mind has led to not having greater success than you would like, and got to the point now where you no longer coach?
Yeah, as I said, one of the things I'm most proud of, which I spoke about in my press conference last week, was our ability to back up 22 and 23 and put ourselves in top 4 positions to give ourselves a chance to win another premiership. That's difficult in the modern game, and you look in recent times, there's not too many teams that have not only made finals, let alone finished in the top 4 to give themselves opportunities. So we weren't able to maximise those opportunities as well as we could to win that next premiership, but it is something I'm really proud of. I listened to a podcast yesterday, and it was Pete Carroll of the Las Vegas Raiders, and he was talking about, he got asked the question, is it tougher to build a premiership program or maintain a premiership program? And they're two very different things, and there's no doubt that they've both got different challenges, but maintaining it's really different because you really dig into the purpose, the intrinsic motivations are really tested to their core. Because you've climbed the mountain, and can you do it over and over and over again? And that tests everyone.
Did that become an issue for the group? Because there were some disciplinary issues which have been well documented. Did they handle the success well, and were you hard enough on them?
Oh, clearly, you get tested in your purpose, and we would have done things a little bit differently through that period to really make sure we had some unforeseen challenges. I was tough on the group. I drove a pretty hard program through, especially post the 21 grand final. I drove an incredibly hard program because I knew that getting back to that top of the mountain is tough, and you need to really push and drive. And we had some challenges that were unforeseen. We could have done things a little bit better. But the last few years has been about pivoting and transitioning to what the next team's going to look like.
Did the club spend too much energy fighting the fights on too many fronts, a lot of it of its own making, from the board to the player group, in a period where you needed to channel all your energy towards winning another flag?
Yeah, look, that's a question you'd have to ask, the powers to be, about the energy that was given to that. My energy was really about what to give to the team. I'm a coach of the Melbourne football team, and I wanted to make sure I could block out the noise and give them the best opportunity for success, and that's my job, and that's the way I went about my business.
Has the board got a good handle on where this club's at right now?
You'd have to.
I have to ask them. I know.
You'd have to ask them. So, I know you want me to talk about. No. This is a question you have to ask them.
I get it.
You've got Greeny's number. Give him a call.
Yeah, but he's spoken about the fact that he thinks there are finals.
Yeah, he felt you should have been playing finals this year.
Yes, which you've spoken about the fact that it is a club in transition. So that's at odds with where they're at. So your capacity to convince them is not to the point where obviously you'd like it.
Yeah, look, I talk about this all the time. I think at the start of every season, there's probably 14 or 15 teams that have a want and a desire to play finals. There's no question about that. I don't like the word expectations. I've got a view that you are looking to build your next premiership team. I want to be someone that builds premiership teams, and just getting to the finals isn't the outcome you're looking for. And there's a lot of things that go into that, and sometimes 7 wins compared to 12 wins, there isn't much in it. But what you want to make sure you're seeing is the transition to what you're trying to become.
And that's where you think they're at right now. So if a coach comes along and says, where have you left this club at? The playing list is transitional, so where's that Petrarca, where's that leave Oliver, where's that leave May, in particular, in terms of, are they going to be part of this next?
Yeah, I think that for the next coach, I think it's set up incredibly well. I'd be incredibly excited by the group that they've got available to them, the talent that's coming through. And, they're decisions that I don't have to make anymore. So,
had you made decisions around what you were going to do with that senior core? Had you contemplated breaking that up at the end of this season?
That's something, as I said, that's something that would stay between myself and the board and everyone at the football club. That's not for me to make those decisions or speak about. I've coached these guys for a long, long period of time. I love them all dearly. I think they're wonderful people and wonderful players, and I think they're all icons of the Melbourne Footy Club.
Notwithstanding you're not going to answer it publicly, had you presented that to the board on the previous Monday night?
No, I'd spoken to the board. It was just a standard board meeting about where we were in the season, where we're at and what we're trying to do.
The selfless mantra that drove you to a success. I remember the time vividly. It was the catch cry of the whole setup. Being in Perth over the time, it was parking individual ego and embracing team. And they did it to a point where the individual accolades just flowed. That was the irony of it all. So I think they've got away from that. Is that harsh, or is there some truth to that?
That's clearly when you know that success is there, when everyone can just fully give themselves over to the team and just be incredibly humble and hungry. And that's when you know your team's ready for success. And there's no doubt post-success it is more challenging. It just is. There's more self-interest, more ego that starts to kick in, and that's something that everyone needs to be aware of. And ultimately, as a footy club, you want to be a humble, hungry organisation that's completely team-orientated.
Do you think there was a degree of impatience around you were trying to transform the connection piece? There's actually some data around to say you did it in the last 6 weeks, which I'm sure you're not oblivious to, but I don't know whether your board was oblivious to it or not. Did you pay the price for not being able to resolve quickly enough that core issue in your game?
Yeah, there's no question that was an issue for us over a period of time. You know, probably in the end it cost us a couple of finals in 23, and it was clearly a facet of our game that we needed to work on and get to work too quickly. And right now, in the last sort of 9-10 weeks, it's been transitioning to a point that's, you know, in the top 6 in the competition, and that's really exciting. But clearly, the connection and the ability to transition the ball from one end of the ground, the connection inside 50, the % direct score per entry, all that stuff is transitioning in the right direction. And they're the numbers that sometimes you look in behind around what we're trying to do and what we're trying to generate for success outside of just the win-loss column.
Did you watch on Sunday?
I did. The second half, I had a beautiful lunch at a birthday lunch in Paddington that I wasn't planning to go to, but when I got home, you know, I sat there, you know, obviously with some mixed emotions initially, but ultimately when the game was on the line, I want them to win. I love the players, I love the group, and I love the coaches and all the work that's gone into trying to get the wins on the board, and I was cheering for them late in the game.
Have you had the chance to sit down with the group?
I spoke to the group pre the press conference and you know, shared my love for them and what they've given me and over the journey. And I've taken Max and Jack out for a dinner and just a little bit of a reflection last Thursday.
Did you oversell love at the start of the year?
Oh, that's a big part of you know, footy is the connection, and we had work to do in that space, was to reconnect and to get everyone back on the same page as a football team. And then from that connection point, you can grow some wonderful things, and that was well on the way. But, you know, people criticise the love side of it. Connection is a big thing, and that was the first part, was to bring them back together.
I've just been appointed the coach. I come to you and say, what do they need in your eyes to take them to the next step?
Yeah, look, you know, clearly the game's becoming a transition game. And you need to make sure that you've got the capacity to be able to do that. You need to be able the capacity to execute consistently over time under pressure. And I think, as I said, the recruiting and list management team have done a great job in the last couple of years of starting to bring those type of players into the footy club. I think there's no doubt there's more of that needed. And as I said, I think the next coach is going to be pleasantly surprised at what he's got at his disposal.
Those contest kings that held you in such great stead. We're talking to Viney and Oliver and those boys. Have they got the capacity to change with the changing time?
Absolutely. They're changing now. I'm watching them now, how they're going about, you know, how they train, how they move, what they focus in on. It's different. And they're starting to evolve their games to a different level. And I think, you know, they've all got still some great years of footy ahead of them.
You will be in demand, I have no doubt about that. Have you spent time with the Giants this week?
I've spent some time up in Sydney, yeah. And I'm going to catch up with a whole range of different people. I'm open-minded to doing anything in football. I love the game. I love coaching. I want to get away, have a spell, relax, do some PD. And coaching is never complete. You want to get better. And I know with experience and everything that I've gone through, with some PD, I'm going to come back even better. So I'll speak to any club that, you know, is in the process of trying to build a premiership team and think that I can add some value.
So that's the pause in the coaching journey, which has, been 11 straight years at Melbourne. You don't seem overly wounded by it. Are you guarding against that? Are we not seeing that?
No, I'm an optimistic person. I look at opportunity and everything happens for a reason. As I said, I was so fortunate to be at a great footy club for 11 years. That journey's come to a close. Another one awaits for me. A new adventure awaits. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to my next stint in the AFL.
Thanks for being part of our program throughout the year.
No worries.
Good to have
Jared.
you.
Thanks, Gaz.
On behalf of the Melbourne faithful, Jared, one of only 4 premiership coaches, and hopefully we add to that, Scotty, but at the minute you're in rare air. You're the only one still alive.
Thanks.
Good luck for what comes next. Simon Goodwin, the journey of the coach throughout the season. Our previous coaches, Simmo and Horse, who have taken us through so much this year as well. They make us smarter every week. They're not ready to return to the coach's box. That much has revealed itself over the past week. But they're going to take us deep on the close finish and the Magpies.
Sits it up. Who's going to be the leaper? And Pearce gets forward out of nowhere.
What's he doing down there? They're all chips in. They're all chips in.
And he's scoring, they lead. A goal. Alex Pearce.
Wow.
The hero. If they can get home Kicks into the dangerous hot spot in front of the goal square. Big mark taken. Huge mark, Pearce. Wow. The Fremantle has marked the things you dream of. It's an awkward-looking run-up, and he kicks truly, and Fremantle lead by 6 points.
Sarong, 80 metres from goal. Plays on, kicks to the dangerous spot. He's going to have flyers at this one from that side. What a grab from Pearce. He's floated forward, the skipper. Flying across the pack. The reverse Leo Barry. Any score will do, but that's the maximum. Pearce has pumped it through for a goal.
Pearce has gone forward as a forward out of the defence. They're going to kick it on his head.
What a grab!
There he is.
The captain takes a towering mark.
He's only kicked 3 goals this year, 8 in his whole career.
Any score will put them in front. It's whether it's by a goal or a point. He kicks it. The captain delivers in their hour of need. How big is that for Fremantle's season?
And how much work goes into conjuring a moment like that when it is most needed. Simmo and Horse have lived this as coaches when a plan comes together. Adam Simpson, welcome.
Good evening, boys.
John Longmire, hello.
Hey, Jared, Gaz.
All right, you're the lead off here. John, you've got the snappiest acronym to describe how you'd go about building a moment like this.
Yes, Jared, you couldn't say that I'd actually presented this to the players, but probably there's more the thought process behind it, and we'll put it up and have a look at it now. But it's just a thought process behind the type of players that you're looking for, and preferably one in each line. If you're looking at big moments in the game, what characteristics they need to have. They need to know their footy clearly, the situation, the plan. They need clarity. They can't be too emotional. They're not about celebrating or wrestling. They've just got to get the job done. The communication's critical, obviously. What needs to be done, who needs to do it, and how do I do it? The action part is obviously really important. The I tell. There's no time for consulting. It can't be a meeting about it. And you need to be incredibly selfless, and you need to be resilient, because sometimes it doesn't work. We've all both coached examples of players that are really good at it, and we saw a great example on the weekend with Fremantle that Simmo's going to take us through now.
All right, Simmo, put Kakar in action for us.
Kakar. All right, I'm just getting through the Kakar bit. But, yeah, it's right, though. The words are actually right. It's spot on. And we're going to look at Fremantle in a minute. And and this is any league, any level, but if you can have a leader in your back line, your midfield and your forward line that can actually connect, and it's a bit of a guess, this, because I don't really know, but I'm looking at Pearce, Sarong and Tracy in the Fremantle game, and we'll bring it up in a second. There's 2 minutes to go, and to paint the picture, you're a point down, and then the score's a level, and then you're a goal up. So there's 3 different activations you need to go through. So what every coach educates the players on is this particular drill, and it's a 2-minute drill, and that requires some leadership on field. So we'll bring up the vision now, because it's a little bit to it, but at the same time, it's pretty basic as well. If you look at the bottom of the screen with Pearce, so they've just conceded a goal, and they're now a point behind. So they've done this training before, where Tracy, he's sort of got he's ready for it. He knows what's going on. Pearce has decided he's the one that needs to go forward, and the runner has just arrived then. So they're already, if you're a good coach team, if the runner's getting there and the players already know, Pearce is trying to get to the wing, and that wing has fallen asleep a little bit. So, okay, I'll start here, but I'm pushing forward. And then Horse, the midfield, what are they going through here?
Yeah, this is Sarong taking charge. What I love about this is it's Sarong. They're not relying upon Fife. And so, he's the one clearly in that midfield group taking control about the plan. And, they're talking to the rucks. They're talking about the positioning. Obviously, Porter trying to do the same thing. But you can just see Sarong here, and he does a really good move. He needs to own the outside, not necessarily when you need to score, you need to own the inside. He goes forward and then comes back on the back of Rosie and is able to cut back. The flip out from his ruckman was superb. He gets some space, and you need to own the outside, not necessarily the inside in these situations. It goes forward. They score a point. Obviously now scores a level. Then it gets back to the kick-in. Really interesting that Sweet was actually pointing to the other side of the ground or I'm not sure why they didn't go down the middle on this particular occasion. But they, both teams looking to score here, hopefully. You can just see Sarong, the ability to be able to win a one-on-one is really important. He takes that mark. As we can see, as Simmo mentioned, Pearce has started to push down and get a great mismatch inside the front half. And that gives Sarong the ball. He's looking around. He asks the other forwards to move with his hand. He's like a circular motion, keep moving. You can just see Pearce guard the space and be in a great position to be able to make the most of that mismatch and go back and kick the goal that puts him in front.
That's magnificent. And he had, I think it was Rosie in the end. So Rosie had to go down and track him down. So the mismatch was perfect. What's going on here?
Well, if you can take it back, boys, just a little bit, because Gary interrupted our schedule.
Sorry, Adam.
Are we able to rewind it? I'm not sure if we can.
Yep.
There we go. So what happened then? So Pearce takes the mark, and Tracy's already, just pause it there for a second, boys. Tracy's already said, listen, we're going to score here, so we're going to hit the front. So he's already setting up behind the play, and this is where the leadership comes in. And these aren't the only three leaders. I'm sure there's plenty of others within the side, but if you let it roll now, he's going, okay, there's going to be a score here. We're going to hit the lead. I'm going to set up behind the play. I'm going to tell Clark, who's actually a defender, you might have to push up to the wing. A goal scored, a lot of guys celebrate, but they're already in leadership, set up the last 30 seconds mode. So Mira's the winger. He now needs to be a forward. So he understands Clark's now a winger instead of a back. And Tracy, so clearly Fremantle said, we want talls to solve our problems, whether it's Pearce forward or Tracy back. And just to look at that had nothing to do with the coach's box. It was all done pre-season and your 2-minute drills, and they preempted a lot of what they needed to do from a leadership point of view, from a direction point of view. And in the end, it was from an execution point of view. So to do those 3 or 4 or 5 different things we just saw then, that's a really mature team who knows how to handle pressure.
Terrific.
Adam and I are calling together Friday. I think we've just got a clear understanding of how that's going to run. It's put me in back in my box straight away.
Well, actually, it was Gary's Syrian Inquisition last week that broke the two of you down. Exactly. At what point, each of you, John, when did you have the epiphany, oh, God, the coaching's not for me if he's going to be like that?
Yeah, no, Gaz taking on the real hard-hitting role down there, isn't he? He's a hard-hitting journalist, there's no question. Gaz, you're doing a great job.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
No, I mean, it wasn't one moment where you just wake up and say, look, I'm not going to do it next year. It was over a period of, that was only, just remember, 24 hours after it actually happened. Yep. So, believe it or not, we actually said what we thought, which was we actually didn't know. We hadn't spent any time thinking about the coaching job. And so when there was one bob up, you actually need more than 24 hours. I know it sounds strange to actually consider it. And that's all we were doing. That's all I was doing anyway. I'm not sure about you, Simmo.
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean, even Simon tonight, and I heard him speak before and he spoke very well, but imagine if someone knocked on his door today and said, hey, listen, do you want to go for another job here? There's so much to take in. So we're trying to be honest, and on reflection, I haven't changed anything since we made the call. I hasn't really changed anything that I've done. So it's just need a little bit of time to compute everything. And in the end, Melbourne didn't ring either of us. So, it was just more a media-driven thing that we make a decision that's a bit more public than normal.
Well, you both jumped the gun for what it's worth, but anyway.
Yeah, I think I broke them. Horse, you seen any similarities with your Sydney Swans and the Magpies right now? So both got out to massive leads in the home and away, and now coming back to the pack. Craig McRae sat here a couple of weeks ago, said he felt like he was leading the Tour de France and the peloton's just coming and breathing down their neck. Was this bringing you back to last year?
It's hard to, Gaz, keep that momentum up and, keep that form up for a long period of time, particularly if you're 3 games clear for a long time. It's hard the competition's really not designed for that. So you're going to go into patches of where you just dip a little bit. We were fortunate we came out of that patch and won the next 5 in a row leading into the grand final. So we actually were able to ride it, and that felt good. I think it's a great thing that Collingwood are actually going to Adelaide this week. I think that's a really good moment for them to be able to try and break the ice a little bit in regards to how they're playing in the wins. And I think that's a really important thing to be able to embrace that, wrap your arms around the pressure that provides, and hopefully come out the other end with a win for them.
What do you think's going on, Simmo?
Well, I mean, I'm going to run the risk at the moment. What I really hated when I was coaching, when teams and commentators in particular would say, oh, they've been worked out, you know, back in, and a Horse, I'm sure you would have had something as well where, you know, to beat West Coast, you just got to keep them under 100 marks. And at the moment, the perception with Collingwood is you just got to take them on and make it a fast turnover to turnover game, because, you know, they can't keep up with their pressure and what their DNA is. If you just keep taking them on and disrupt their system, you'll be fine. And that used to annoy me. I'm sure it annoys Fly. But until you prove them wrong, that's what teams are going to do. So I suspect Adelaide is going to bring a fast-paced game and try and expose the leg speed. I know there might be some players coming back in, but that's probably what the perception is at the moment, albeit there's so much more to it.
Terrific. Great to have you both with us. Enjoy the footy. Simmo, we'll see you on Friday night. John, next Wednesday. Make it a date.
See you guys.
John Longmire and Adam Simpson, our favourite pairing here on 360. Our Monday night's coaches on duty have the most peculiar final round of the season. They're each playing twice, and it culminates against each other, Damien Hardwick and Brad Scott.
They got in their pay.
The AFL's overdue homework they will execute in round 24.
I think a forfeit's possible.
Where we left off with AFLW, the unbeaten season of North Melbourne to claim the 9th premiership. And so season 10 begins tomorrow night. So much of this is new. It's the new time slot a couple of weeks earlier. It's the first time there'll be 12 rounds across the home and away season. And North Melbourne's quest to defend their premiership is about to commence. That will be where it all starts tomorrow night. Standalone game reprising 10 years since the famous lockout, Carlton and Collingwood. The two women who carry responsibility to guide this competition, Laura Kane. Laura, great to have you back on 360.
Thank you.
And Emma Moore. Emma, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks
What's
for having me.
What's your overriding wish for season 10 as you walk into it?
Oh, and absolutely filled stadiums and great football.
When you're out the front holding everyone back, Gil McLaughlin style? Is that what you'd like?
Absolutely.
What is the expected crowd? It's $15 a ticket, 7,000 or so with a 13,000 capacity. So if you're in the mind to go and watch some footy, you can just roll up, yeah?
We're looking pretty good in terms of the numbers for tomorrow night's game, so I'd suggest you get on and get a ticket, or it might be a lockout.
Oh, nice.
Nice. What's the opportunity? What's the hope for season 10, Laura?
Oh, there's so much. I mean, firstly, to reflect just how far we've come. It's 9 years, 10 seasons, 540 women playing our great game. We just hope that continues. We hope the footy continues to get better and better. We hope teams work their way up the ladder, and we hope the fans love it.
There's goodwill in this competition, born of that night, I think, for the majority. There's always a voice of dissent, which we understand, but I think overwhelming goodwill. Have you lost some of that in the last few years or not?
That's not our sense at all. And, in partly this year we've been doing the strategy as well for the growth, and everything that we saw in all of that work in terms of talking to the fans was that they absolutely love it. And they're really interested in it, and there's a huge base of people that are really passionate about it, and there's more and more that are being unlocked as well, and that's what we intend to do.
So is there pressure from an attendance and a ratings point of view then to back that up?
We've got absolute goals around that, and that's what we're going for, is to grow it. We've grown the comp massively in 9 years, like a really short amount of time. We've gone from 0 to a full competition. And every club represented and 540 professional athletes. It's incredible. But what we want to do now is to make sure we absolutely keep growing the fan base and our viewership, and that's what we're going to do.
Are you confident you can restore some of that momentum?
Yeah, we can, and we've seen it grow and develop. We've expanded the competition, but even to go back to that last question, we're hard on ourselves. We want to see growth. We want every box to be green. We want more people watching, coming, playing, and we're not going to stop. And that investment has allowed us to do that. And we're really confident that the product will continue to improve and more people will stream through the gates.
The challenge, of course, is that it is coming online at a time when the men's competition is reaching its peak and zenith. So
put that schedule up of the 18 games in the way that it looks. It's a big challenge.
Jared's going to watch every one of them.
Have a look at that.
Everyone understands this is not a knock on the women, but this is a challenging time for eyeballs and for people at games to be launching at this time. So I understand the want set a high mark for yourselves to, from a ratings and attendance point of view, but it's going to be bloody hard over the next month.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first 36 national games of football in 2 weeks. It's a big exercise. It's also really exciting. And if, the fixture allows every fan to watch both of their teams play, their one club, we want them to do that. And
do you think they will? I'm not talking it down, but there's so much footy you can watch.
They should, and we want our fans to engage in our game however they would like. They want to play, they want to watch, they want to, pick a fantasy team every weekend and everything in between. And I hope they do. And our job is to make the product exciting and interesting. And, I mean, we all know what makes for a good game of footy. And we see it all the time in the men's, and we're starting to see it more and more in the women's, and that's a good place for us to be.
Why didn't you go with a couple of double headers, men's and women's, across these 2 weeks where the opportunity presented?
We wanted to make sure that if we in the future do a double header, it's something that's repeatable and that it's actually going to grow the audience in the way we want to and grow the fan base. So we were really clear about that this season we were absolutely focused on driving that home and away growth, in driving a great football product and being really clear about locking into our fans that are in our club base. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. And we really will look at other things like double headers in the future. It's not off the table, but right now we really want to focus on that growth piece and be really single-minded about it.
The curtain raisers, is that also on the agenda?
Yeah.
And why wasn't it on the agenda for Collingwood versus Adelaide tomorrow night?
Yeah, Emma talked to it. We're focused on growth, but the other opportunity we've had over the past 12 months is to learn from other sports. Women's sports, one of the fastest growing categories in the world, and we've been able to learn from the leagues and competitions, teams all over the world. Arsenal we met with, and they said to us, don't hope that your double headers and your big stadiums will sell out. No, they will. We know we can do it. We've done it before, but our competition's expanded rapidly since then. And so a lot of our strategic thinking in that space is we'll do it when the time's right and when we know that the stadium will be full and we know that our fans want to come to both of those games in one sitting. It's a lot of footy. But we know maybe the comfort of their couch, they can do both at the minute.
Would they always be in big stadiums, or do you want to be in big stadiums? Or...
It's a really good question, because what we hear from our fans is they love the boutique stadiums. Essendon fans love going back to Windy Hill. Our Brisbane fans love Springfield now and the win there. They're really good. And there's a lot of sentiment connected to multiple generations of fans who love Arden Street, who love Windy Hill, as I said. And we don't want to lose that. Our fans love being close to the players, and so it's just a balance. It's a balance when the time's right, that we don't lose what's also special and different about our competition.
And what might the change to holding the ball do, which I'm fascinated to see?
I thought you might be.
Yeah.
Very interesting. We're hoping that the ball, we improve and increase ball movement, ball speed, which helps us improve and increase scoring. And so it'll be an adjustment. You know, we're really thrilled to have recently retired AFL umpires. I mean, one of your own, Razor, doing tomorrow night, to help the players understand that shift. But our remit has been really clear, and we want to increase scoring and improve the flow of the game as we do in the men's.
And tomorrow night, very quickly, Ash Centra is going to make her debut, which could be a generational talent that might just help continue to catapult your game.
Yeah.
Is she that good?
Well, by all accounts, that's absolutely what we hear. And I think that's the other part of it, is this season we've got our first generation of the debutantes coming through who've gone the whole way through our system. So this is, it's incredible that at the 10th season, that's what we're seeing now, someone that's been playing footy since they were 6.
Emma, Laura, great to have you both with us. Good luck over these coming weeks.
It fills out tomorrow night.
Yep.
See you there.
Icon Park tomorrow night. Carlton and Collingwood reprising the deeds of 10 years ago to start the 10th season of AFLW. A new generation. We met the captains last night. The #1 draft pick will be on the spot to get our first glimpse there. And then the second of the double headers features Daisy Pearce is coaching the Eagles, so West Coast and Gold Coast to round out a doubleheader to start the season. Time for our points bet update with Bernie Vince. Bernie, welcome.
Thanks, Jared. High stakes footy at Optus Stadium Friday night. Big ramifications for the loser. They open up possibly missing the 8 altogether, with the Western Bulldogs awaiting Fremantle next week at Marvel Stadium, and the Brisbane Lions, well, they've got to take on Hawthorn too, who are in some ripping form. So big game, this one. These two teams, interestingly enough, are the best two teams against fellow top 9 teams. The Fremantle Dockers are 6-2. And the Brisbane Lions are 7-4. But Brisbane, they're very good on the rebound this year. Obviously a bad loss against Sydney, but very good on the road too. I think they can upset the Dockers. I think they'll win 1-39 in a tight one. Sam Switkowski, he's kicked a goal in all 7 games at Optus Stadium this year. I've got him for a goal too. And Caleb Sarong, well, he's had 30+ in 4 of his last 5 v Brisbane. I think he can do that again. Some real value there at $11. You can find all those odds plus a whole heap more on the PointsBet app. Enjoy the footy.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
They are 10 points clear of the field, and their eyes turn to September, and they are the team to beat in 2025.
Who saw this coming?
To lose 4 of the last 5, that's massive.
There's cause for concern at Collingwood. I think there are some alarm bells starting to ring.
Collingwood's vice-like grip on top spot evaporating in a flash.
Collingwood look really ordinary. They look a bit rattled.
Can they do it again? Or are they too tired? Or are they too beaten up? Are they too worn down? They got too many other issues at play?
And last Thursday, the little cracks became canyons.
We're hurting. That one really hurt. Just a lack of system and then a lack of fight. You're 114,000 members. You expect a certain amount of effort, and we didn't have it. Judges saw no response.
That leads us to Super Saturday.
Mr. DJ, are you ready?
The match of the round live from 7 o'clock on Fox Footy. The suddenly vulnerable Magpies up against the ladder-leading Crows at the Adelaide Oval, no less.
You do not, under any circumstance, want to play Adelaide in Adelaide.
What a mind-blowing recent history between these two. The last 5 games, all of them by 10 points or less, if you don't mind.
We have seen this story before.
Can he bury it from the pocket? You bet he can, Jamie Elliott.
And he shuts up the crowd of the Adelaide Oval. Adelaide's still in front, as they have been all day. Now it's Noble. He's close enough. It's another Collingwood miracle. Tension all around the MCG. It's a winter classic. Rankin goes on. It is deja vu at the MCG.
Comes Bobby. He's in the crowd. Collingwood, they continue their domination of the Adelaide Crows.
But the only history these Crows care about is what they can create this September.
They're a force, this team.
Their first September under Matthew Nicks.
Yeah, you're dominating. Don't give him an inch. No mercy now.
It's Adelaide and Collingwood in a Super Saturday main event.
That's awesome. That is elite.
Live, right here on Fox Footy.
You are now rocking. Unmissable and only here on Fox Footy. That is proper Super Saturday Live. The BCNA auction for the past couple of nights we've referenced. Oscar Baker dropped his jumper in from Anzac Day, which he signed. Those are Jack Viney's boots. And Jared Berry has also donated his grand final boots to the auction. So follow the link to the website there and bid up.
Monday. You've got till Monday, so get in now.
Weekend picks thanks to PointsBet, guys. What is your round 23 headline?
The House of Riley. That's what the Adelaide Oval is slowly becoming, and he's going to provide all sorts of nightmares for the Collingwood defenders on Saturday night, Jared. What about you?
Oh, I've got our first playing CEO.
Who?
Matthew Pavlich. He's lining up for the Beverley Redbacks in WA country footy. He's the last of the Carlton draftees.
Oh.
So wind him up on Friday night and set him loose.
Andrew Pridham won't want him to get injured there.
Plot twist.
Why don't they get on into this early? So Vossi and Kenny coach from the same box. Maybe Kenny. I don't know if Kenny's going to go and join Vossi, but get a head start on it. What do you got?
I've got Naz runs through a giant contract banner.
Yeah. With a big check.
On Friday night.
Giant check.
And Ross turns to the press box. Last dollar.
Suns over the Giants for me. You?
North with the double, men's and women's.
North?
Yep.
You get a price. It'll be a nice price.
It gets built up on the men's side of things.
It does indeed.
All right, terrific. See you Monday.
Yes,
Happy travels.
We'll have a lot to discuss.
We will indeed. Our coaches, Damien Hardwick and Brad Scott. Let's head to first crack preview.